Today, before we deal with how the luxury fashion industry is designed to make you stay poor for the rest of your life, we'll first talk about the basics, that is, stocks and investments, as well as the third wealthiest man on the planet, Bernard Arnault. Mr. Arnault is the only non-American included in the top 10 list of the richest people in the world, but that didn't stop him from being the chairman and CEO of LVMH, one of the luxury fashion giants that skyrocketed his wealth over the years. It's not a secret how LVMH's fortune increased during the past decade. In 2019 alone, sales reached about 281 billion euros, or if converted to US dollars, about $316 billion. But that's not all, because global statistics showed that by 2025, it has the probability to grow up to 25%, most of which will be coming from China. The European luxury brands have developed into hundreds of billions of dollars in fortune for their stakeholders, but that doesn't mean that it's easy for them to sell their luxury goods. These European companies are valuable and profitable, but it can be challenging to build their reputation and convince people to actually buy their expensive items. Buying from one of these luxury brands is not like buying goods from Target or The Gap, where you can get a discounted price on selected clothing on an ordinary day. At the end of the day, they have tricks up their sleeves that can persuade people to buy their original manufactured Louis Vuitton bag that's worth about $5,000. This is because establishing a luxury empire does not only require coming up with distinct designs for clothes and bags or using the highest quality leather in manufacturing shoes. It takes sophisticated strategies and psychological techniques to have their customers hooked on the idea that buying a $10,000 bag is worth it. One example would be when fashion empires burn their unsold products worth billions of dollars annually. They use this as a sales tactic to maneuver exclusivity to their customers, making them believe that these luxury items have some prestige imprinted onto them. This creates a perception among customers to get in line or wait to purchase a bag that's almost worth their 3-month salary. But don't get me wrong, it's not inherently bad, especially if that's what makes them happy. Still, the prestige they often give these luxury goods isn't worth it, because despite the well-designed perception, some luxury goods are actually manufactured by underpaid and exploited sweatshop workers. Imagine this. You go into a store, then you see a $26 Zara bag, and right next to it, you see a $3,800 Gucci bag. Which one will you choose? The bag that's worth thousands of dollars because of the elaborate and fancy ridges on its handle that's probably worth 2 times greater but not 150 times greater than the bag worth around $20. Because after comparing the two bags, you'll eventually realize that these two have the same function. But of course, you also have to consider different scenarios, like, for example, having a Porsche Cayman that has better driving performance than having a Toyota Camry, but it sells double the cost. But that's the car industry. In the fashion industry, however, it's a totally different thing because you're paying for the luxury products that are 100 times greater than other functionally identical products. In defense of these luxury brands, it may seem like they only sell expensive stuff, but they're not just selling clothes, bags, or shoes. They're trying to sell a certain lifestyle and social status. Owning a luxury empire is not that easy because you have to persuade your customers that the use of your products is exclusively for those who belong to society's upper class. People then get the idea that buying designer products is worth every cent of the thousands of dollars that they pay for because of the prestige that it gives them. After the brand's image has been established, you have to maintain the high prices because this is the only way these customers can flaunt to the rest of the world just how rich they are and how they could afford such a luxurious item. However, other problems might arise because as a luxury brand owner, you can't really predict the demand for a specific product. So there may come a time that you'll end up producing too many designer coats and you might not be able to sell it all at the retail price that you originally set. Many fashion stores put up sale days on their physical stores just to lure in customers and ensure that these designer items do not go to waste and actually be sold. Other stores like H&M update their online websites and give massive discounts for those customers who choose to add selected items to their virtual cart and click checkout. Unfortunately, not all big brands can admit that they're selling short their quota for a specific product. Despite the major setbacks, they maintain their product's original price list. They don't give discounted prices because for them, admitting that their products are not really in demand is like destroying the brand's image and reputation. So what do you think they do with these unsold items? Well, it mostly means that their incinerator would be working overtime. About 4 years ago, Burberry showed how they annually disposed of over $38 million worth worth of unsold inventory items, but they realized that they were wasting the products, so they decided to keep all the items that weren't sold and donated them to local shelters to recycle them and save resources. As expected, Burberry isn't the only luxury brand that does this. Alongside it are Louis Vuitton, Chanel, and other big luxury empires. But these brands don't mind burning a few cloth and leather pieces because manufacturing it didn't cost them that much. It's just a small price to pay to maintain their brand's image and value. But it doesn't end there because obviously establishing a high price on the products that they sell isn't enough to exhibit a sense of exclusivity to the customers. So the brand owners decided to use arcane sales techniques to fully persuade them. For instance, we can take a look at Hermes, the home of the world-famous Birkin bag. An Hermes bag can range from $11,000 to $400,000 depending on the style and model. Bags crafted using exotic animal skins or precious metals can go for hundreds of thousands of dollars. However, you might think that these bags are just beautifully displayed in Hermes stores for all to see and adore, but you're wrong. Since most Hermes bags are so prestigious and rare, people who want to get their hands on one have to endure being placed on a waiting list. So no, you can't just walk inside one of their stores and walk out with a Birkin. You have to patiently wait, sometimes for years, and prove that you're worthy to own one. I know what you're thinking. That seems awfully arrogant of the brand to put their customers through such agony, especially considering that they're willing to pay a ton of cash for a bag. But it's all just a sales tactic, which works by the way. Seeing as Hermes is a booming empire. You see, by depriving their customers of a Birkin, they're giving the idea that only the wealthy, upper-class people get to own a genuine Birkin. This fashion gimmick is so intelligent because it makes the rich willing to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to prove that they're worthy, and in turn, bringing in tons of sales for Hermes. This enables Hermes to control their consumer by turning their brand into some kind of badge of prestige. Their shoppers flock to their stores to buy random designer stuff to prove their worth, designer items crafted in Italy. Of course, Italy has a reputation of being the leader when it comes to high fashion. So every time these loyal customers buy an item and see the Made in Italy tag, they're conditioned to think that the item they purchased is intricately handmade by a professional fashion artisan using only the best materials. This isn't the same when they see a Made in China or a Made in Bangladesh logo because shoppers will immediately assume that these items are just products from random sweatshops. However, I'm sorry to break it to you, but the difference between the two logos isn't that significant if you look closer. For example, The New Yorker conducted an investigation in 2018 that revealed how many luxury brands rely on Chinese immigrants to work in their Italian factories. They seek help from third-party companies to find these workers and hire them so that when the authorities hear about these exploitations, the blame cannot be pinned on them. These factory workers were forced to work long hours in exchange for low salaries and no medical insurance. The investigation exposed Gucci and Prada as part of the luxury empires that hired immigrants as their workers. Now, based on the final products of these brands, we can say that these Chinese workers are really capable of producing high-quality luxury items. It's basically like relocating a Chinese sweatshop to Italy, so it doesn't matter much if it's made in China or Italy. Although by putting the Made in Italy logo, these brands can massively escalate the prices of their items. Another issue to be tackled in this video is the target consumer of these luxury brands. Yes, many of the most loyal shoppers belong to the super wealthy, who don't exactly mind spending $5,000 on a jacket. However, an unbelievable amount of consumers are revealed to be from the lower and middle class, who work long hours just to save up enough money to buy one luxury product. Also, big department stores like Neiman Marcus and Saks Fifth Avenue offer a buy now, pay later policy in their stores, so those people who don't have $2,000 to buy a Dolce & Gabbana bag can now own one on an installment basis. But hear this. When it comes to shopping, one rule that you must take to heart is that if you don't have enough money in your bank to purchase something, you shouldn't force it. But some people are willing to take the deal, and in the end, they find themselves financially short. The Business Insider recently published a heat map that shows the distribution of Google searches for Louis Vuitton fall on correlational states. California, Nevada, Texas, New York, and Florida top the list, and these states all have income inequality but apparently have a high interest in luxury fashion. As expected, people who live in a place with heightened interest in designer brands and luxury goods can turn into social pressure, urging people to buy luxury items even if they're way beyond their paychecks, just so they fit in. This This only proves how expensive luxury items are just signaling mechanisms around society. This practice is not only limited to the states I mentioned. Even in other countries like China, where a boom in luxury goods sales has been evident during these past few years, this trend has also been observed. The government has a record of earning 30% of luxury sales globally and is expected to increase to 50% in 2025. These statistics exist even when the country's capital only revolves around $10,000 annually, which means that when people spend the majority of their income on luxury goods, they end up trapped in poverty for the whole year, hindering them from attaining financial stability, thus proving how these luxury fashion industries grew in sales while perpetuating income inequality. And that's a wrap, everybody. Now, why don't you share your ideas and opinions in the comment section below and tell us where you stand? Do you think luxury brands are good for our society or not? Let us know what you think. Thank you for watching our video. Leave us a like, share, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you keep updated on our future content. See you in our next video. Adios!